Welcome to the show.
I'm Josh.
You know who I am.
So, Corey, have you seen Toy Story 4?
I have. Thought it was quite good. Has some excellent jokes in there. The sex scene between Jessie and Buzz was a little out of place, kind of strange, but otherwise, great film. In the golden days, there was a YouTube channel named Fabtastic Productions. Greatest name I ever heard. Now, they've since changed their name to Good Bit Films in an attempt to reach at least a slightly more mature audience, as they themselves matured with age. Unfortunately, they don't really upload videos anymore, but they're behind some excellent short comedy videos on YouTube. Today, I'm looking at their 55-minute short film, Dildo Diamonds. It's not a porno. This is a movie I've seen a couple of times, both by myself and with my mates, and it's always a great time. The pacing is very quick and well done. There's not a dull moment throughout the entire thing. When old mate Josh over here brought this whole show idea to me, I knew I was going to review a short film, and I knew this was going to be the first one that I did. So I sat down and I was like, alright, I'll watch the first 5 minutes or so, get it refreshed in my mind. But I started watching and I couldn't stop. It had my attention the entire time. It's a very crude movie. And if you're someone who's offended by people calling each other homos, then you're going to be too soft for it. But the overall atmosphere will put a smile on your face throughout the entire thing, as well as having lots of smaller jokes that are absolutely hilarious pretty much every time. Story-wise, there's actually a lot going on. There's one plot that has all these different characters crossing over, and it's actually very well done. Production-wise, they actually do pretty well. To have all their mates working on the film, that's something that I love to see. Everyone's mates getting together, just mucking around acting to make something out of passion and just to have fun. And as silly as it sounds for a movie like this, all the characters have the exact amount of screen time and are fleshed out just enough for us as the audience to know who they are. This YouTube comedy about mobsters hiding diamonds in dildos does such a good job with its characters. I honestly believe you can go in depth with certain characters' action and talk about how that builds who they are and shows us to the audience what they're all about. And nothing feels out of place. A tiny negative about the movie is that the sound quality isn't that great when it comes to dialogue.
You got the stuff?
But that would have been purely because of the equipment they were using. And they did a good enough job in editing that while it doesn't sound great, it's not too quiet or anything like that. You can press play on the movie, you won't have to adjust any of the sound levels, you can hear what everyone's saying without any needs for like a subtitles or anything like that. And it's a problem they knew they had, but a problem they dealt with very well. So, too long, don't read. Movie's hilarious. Good job, guys. I miss yous very much. Alright, old mate Josh, you just watched Dildo Diamonds, it's not a porno. What are your thoughts?
It wasn't very good, was it?
What do you mean? It was so great!
That sound, that was rough.
Oh, it wasn't that bad. They did what they had to do.
It sounded like crap, it looked like crap.
Oh, well, we're going to have some problems here.
No, I'll tell you what I enjoyed.
Okay.
I enjoyed the...
Hey, don't spoil it. You dumbass. We're talking about YouTube short films here, okay? So you got to not worry about production and sound so much. Firstly, it's 5 years old.
It is 5 years old.
Secondly...
5 years crap.
You son of a bitch. You got to put those things behind you, and you got to look at what it is on its own.
I will say there were things that they set up sort of early on in the film that I was expecting to just be like a one-off joke sort of.
Yes, but they didn't. They did.
And they paid them
Yes,
off.
exactly.
So
it's written very well, I think.
I'm impressed. No, it's a bad film. It's designed to be like a funny bad film, I think. I think that's pretty obvious. And it did what it set out to do. And it's fun. It's entertaining.
It's very entertaining. That's all. That's what it needs to be. It's a short film on YouTube that's for free. All it needs to be is entertaining.
But I did want to kill myself.
It's just not Spider-Man. Man?
So, one word, eh?
Well, give or take. And stay out of my spot as well, please. John Wick discussion! That's what we should do. So, John Wick. Okay, here's the thing. I watched the first John Wick when it came... No, not when it came out. Not in cinemas. On my computer at home. 2014. because my mate at school was like, "Oh yeah, watch John Wick." I was like, "Oh cool." I watched it and I was like, "Hey, that's pretty good."
What is John Wick about?
Well, everyone knows what John Wick's about. So the first one, he's with his missus, and she dies of like cancer or something.
And he's an ex-hitman.
Yeah, well, he's an ex-hitman.
Gone into retirement.
He's known as the boogeyman in the world. Very, very good at what he does, which is killing people. And yeah, his missus dies, and she gives him like a parting gift when she dies. She has a dog sent to him, like a puppy. And then he also got a car, which he likes a lot, a muscle car. You know, this is after he's left his hitman life behind.
And that's one of the things that I really thought was great about that first movie was, well, obviously you've got the action, but you've also got that car choreography, which is just fantastic in these
Yes,
films.
that was quite good. And the simplicity of it is quite nice.
Right, because all the story basically happens in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Theon Greyjoy from Game of Thrones comes along with his buddies.
I don't know. I don't watch Game of Thrones.
It's Theon from Game of Thrones. And he murders John Wick's puppy, and then he steals his car.
Yes.
That's all in the first 15 minutes of the film.
It's out of the way, and then the rest is about he gets the car back and he gets his revenge.
Yep.
And everyone's afraid because John Wick is so good at killing people, and he's back in the business.
So John Wick is, of course, known as one of the most profound movies of all time.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Basically, it's just a revenge story. His dog's dead, his car's been stolen, so he goes and murders a bunch of people to get revenge.
Well, basically, the whole thing that was good about it was because it was different than like Expendables 3.
Right.
It was just, everything, all these action films these days, shaky
cam and quick cuts, and it just looks like vomit on the screen.
Yeah, it does.
And this one, John Wick is really precise. It's all really well executed. It looks great.
They put effort into the fighting.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves, bless his soul, knows what he's doing, puts effort into it, as does the choreographing team.
Yeah. And then John Wick 2, I think, comes along, and it builds on that, but in my opinion, John Wick 2 is probably the best of the three.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I love John Wick 2.
And what I think really works about John Wick 2 is that you've basically got this top tier hitman, right? Him killing a bunch of people is sort of like, he's the best and he murders people. That's fine. In John Wick 2, he's forced because of this marker that he's given someone to basically get out of the business however many years ago. They've come back and said, I want you to kill my sister.
Yeah, that's right, sister, yeah.
Right, and basically, so we now see him in a situation where he's having to use his skills in a way he doesn't want to, and so his character motivations are very different. Yeah. I think it's much more interesting direction for the character.
Yeah, for sure. And they bring these other characters in, like old mate from the Matrix with the pigeons and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Morpheus.
Yeah, Morpheus. They don't go too far with it. They sort of have it all just right.
We basically understand that they've got this hotel, the Continental, and they're basically not allowed to kill each other in the Continental.
Yeah, so there's rules there. And there's sort of a twist on the rules at the end when he shoots him in the hotel. And it's like, what have you done? Finished it.
Right. The brother
of the sister that John Wick had killed.
He puts a $7 million price tag on John Wick's head, right?
Yes, that's right.
And he's like, what kind of a brother would I be if I didn't avenge my sister?
Yeah. And that whole sequence of the like hitman's trying to kill him while him and
right. Yeah.
Oh, what's the other dude's name? The black dude?
I don't remember.
Like, that whole sequence that go on between that and like the hitman's trying to kill John Wick, that was fantastic.
Yeah. Although the one thing that always gets me about that scene is when they're going through the train station and they're just covertly shooting at each other.
Yes.
And they've got suppressors on, and it's like, yeah, okay, buddy.
But it's okay. It's believable because they've got bulletproof jackets. You know, they shoot each other.
Yeah.
And the bullets bounce off, so it's believable. And then so you can believe that they're shooting each other and it's suppressed. You can believe that.
Right.
But it's almost a bit messy sometimes. But I think for the most part, the choreography is great. Yeah. The Hall of Mirrors when he's in the rave.
Yeah, and that's the first like really interesting set piece as well, which is sort of what these films have become about to some extent. The set pieces, the big locations and stuff.
But then number 3 comes along.
Yeah, number 3.
And look, they jumped the shark in my opinion a lot.
Well, we should probably explain the basic premise of John Wick 3.
So it's set up really well. So the end of John Wick 2, fantastic.
So basically he's killed this guy on Continental property. Winston, who's the manager of the Continental, says basically you have an hour to run away, and after that you're excommunicado. So everyone's going to try and kill you for the $14 million price tag.
Gives him a chance. And he shows him that he's that he sort of got control. Like he does that little look, and everyone that's around that area that John Wick is standing in just stops, and they're all part of it. And it's like, frick, man, this guy's pretty big. And then he starts running with his dog in the end, and everyone starts watching him, and it's like, okay, things are getting serious. And when it ended, I was so amped and so excited for this third movie.
Right.
And it starts, boom, we're straight into it. These guys are chasing straight away. Everyone's watching their watches. It's going to be time. TikTok, Mr. Wick, and you know they're getting ready to kill this guy.
Yeah.
So I thought it was set up very well. And I thought they jumped the shark a little bit with the whole knife throwing thing, to be honest. I wasn't a big fan of that.
I enjoyed that bit.
It's cool him throwing the knives, but I think they almost kind of went too many. Like, I like the whole idea where they're sort of looking at each other and then they sort of smash the glass behind them to see who can get it fastest.
Right.
But it didn't look quite right for throwing the knives and then it goes in too quick. I thought it was a bit too much. I think they used knife throwing too much. They should have used maybe more sort of close hand-to-hand combat.
I think it made sense for like one scene, which is what it was. I didn't think that was too over the top.
But I think, and then it wasn't so bad, and then the horses come along. And I thought,
The horse, that was weird. The CGI kicking, and it's like, this doesn't really feel like what
I wasn't a big fan.
John Wick's about.
Yeah.
Basically, he gets passage to somewhere in the Middle East, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is said, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, it is said. I just don't remember where.
And this, for me, I think is where it starts to really get bogged down, I think, which is when he meets up with Halle Berry.
Yeah.
And Halle Berry's got a couple of dogs.
Which I don't mind. Like the whole dog thing is kind of cool, and like when the guy shoots the dog, and then that's what makes her kill everyone around there. Which it's tying back to the first one.
John Wick basically says to her, well, I have this marker, so the marker's come back into it, right?
Yeah, which is fine.
He says, well, you've got to take me to basically the head of wherever they are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the Continental. In the end, she's like, no, don't make me do this. And then he's like, you have to, because he has a marker. And she takes him to see Bronn from Game of Thrones.
Oh, another Game of Thrones suit, huh?
That's right.
Okay, of course. The kind of problem that I think I had with the film is I left the film and I just didn't know how I felt about it. Because, a lot of the action was good, but it went too big. I wasn't quite, I should have been expecting it because from the start it's sort of been building this world. Like at some point we're going to see like the whole lot of this world. And in the third one, we've seen the whole world of the whole, Hitman underworld. But I don't think I was ready for it. And then we've seen Halle Berry do all these kills and stuff.
Yeah. And
because we haven't seen anyone do any of that kind of thing. Just only John Wick's done it the whole time.
Right,
and now all of a sudden Halle Berry's doing it as well.
And so obviously Halle Berry's, they have a history and she's probably done a lot of the same training as him.
Yeah, which is fine. I've got nothing against Halle Berry, obviously.
It's like Bronn from Game of Thrones shoots one of her dogs and now she's
But he's got bulletproof vest on this time. So
right. So she's not even dead. So Bronn from Game of Thrones talks to John Wick before all this crap breaks loose.
Yeah.
And he says to John Wick, you're going to walk through the desert.
And then keep walking until you can't walk any further. And then maybe old mate will find you.
If he wants to.
If he wants to. I didn't think he literally meant that. But then after they start killing all these dudes, I thought that was some kind of, I thought he was basically saying, no, you can't actually find him. It's not going to happen. Right. Or it was some kind of...
Something like that.
What's the opposite of literal?
Figurative.
Some kind of figurative speech. But then after the big fight, he literally go and does that.
Right, John Wick goes to the desert and he just starts walking until he collapses.
And then they find him.
Right.
Is that... I guess old mate must have... The one that Halle Berry didn't kill. I don't know why. Because she was going to kill him. And then this is after he shot a dog. What, Bronn from Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Bronn from Game of Thrones.
And then she's going to kill him. And then John Wick's like, don't do it. And then she shoots him. And then he just kneecaps him. And it's like, why shouldn't she just killed all of his mates as if he's not going to try and kill her? What is sparing him going to do? Anyway.
I assume maybe it'll get her in deeper shit. Just like it got...
she just kneecapped him instead. And killed all of his mates.
Yeah. Fair point.
So, anyway. Then he goes out, he finds his mate, he cuts his finger off.
Right. The big bad guy who's higher than the high table, who's higher than they're higher than everyone else. And
hey, Savannah, have some manners. Yeah.
So basically, he's the ruler of this whole crime scene.
More or less.
He's just kind of some guy in the desert.
And he was younger than I thought because he's supposed to be like the top dog.
Right.
And I'm like, he should be an old man, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he was just some guy.
Yeah, and it's like, all right.
And he said to John Wick, if you want to have this excommunicado thing overturned, then you've got to give me something I want.
And then he cuts his finger off, and what is he going? He asked him to kill Winston.
Kill Winston, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Isn't that pretty much what happened? He's like, yeah, he said he would do it.
Yeah, right. The thing is, what I don't really get about this is why, like, at the end of number 2, you have Winston basically orchestrate this whole thing where he's talking to John, and he's sort of demonstrating his power and makes everyone stop and look at John at the same time, who's around them, and you think they're just strangers until they all...
Yeah, which was like, oh!
Right. And it's like, Winston's like, this is my town, bitch.
And then because he let John Wick live for an extra hour, they're like, nah, freak you, Winston. John Wick, you kill him because he gave you an extra hour to live.
Right. So what I don't really get is Winston's portrayed as this top dog. He's like the ruler of this whole empire. And then suddenly, no, the high table's above him. And this Sandman is above the high table.
Which I suppose isn't that bad a thing when you look into like Darth Vader. You know how he's like the top dog, but then obviously he's not. He's got old mate watching over him, Palpatine.
I guess.
So in that kind of sense, it's like, oh yeah, he's a big guy, but it's like, no, he's still just a smaller player, really. He's only the horse of the chess pieces.
I guess so. So I guess at the same time as this, a representative of the high table comes along.
She wasn't hot enough. I'm just kidding.
But she talks to some Asian guy at a sushi restaurant or thing.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this.
And she's like, hey, you wanna team up with me? And he's like, sure. What?
That was Avengers. You want to team up? Anyway.
Okay. Right, so they basically go to everyone who has helped John Wick and they exact their punishment however they feel like. They kill some people, I think.
And I think, they just sort of senselessly slaughter everybody. And then
she goes to Morpheus from The Matrix and she's like, you gave John Wick 7 bullets. I assume it's an American accent. You gave John Wick 7 bullets.
No, she was like Dalian, wasn't she?
Mr. Wick broke the rules.
You gave John Wick 7 bullets, and in return you will be punished with 7 cuts.
You'll be punished with 7 cuts. Does she cut him?
No, it's Sushi Man.
Oh yeah.
It's the sushi guy.
So John Wick is gonna go kill Winston. The chick, she's bald. Yeah, the bald chick. That's the what's her name again? She got
the high table punk.
yeah, she looks like a punk. I actually liked her, to be honest. I thought she was cool.
She was fine.
I thought the way she wore her jacket, but not with the sleeves, just sort of over her shoulders.
All these films have to have their like badass female fighter.
Of course. This is 2000. This is the current year. You have to have that.
But basically, John Wick murders a bunch of military-grade, high-table warrior people.
Then the best of the best.
Right, and then
the TRG of the high table.
Then he murders Sushi Man and all his friends.
Yeah. No, he doesn't kill the 2 guys, the brothers. They're fans. They could have killed him many times, but they didn't.
Right.
And even in that fight, a lot of the time, I'm like, bro, you're looking kind of slow, man. Like, it just wasn't quite as...
Yeah, that's true. They say he's tired and he's...
I mean, he's been through a lot, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's kind of fair.
How many times has he been shot over the last week?
Yeah, it's warranted. He's just killed a lot of guys.
Yeah.
So it is warranted. But I didn't mind that they're like, oh, we're fans, and then he didn't kill them, and it's like, oh, thanks, bro. Now there's a little karambit.
Well, they have to do this thing every so often because he is a horrible murderer, and so every so often they have to have a little moment where he could kill someone, but he doesn't because it's like, oh, he's a murderer with a heart of gold.
Yeah, of course.
So they need to have that sort of thing, but that happens. Yeah. And you know something? Every time they break a glass box in this movie, it makes me want to kill myself because it's the same thing over and over and over again. How do you do this?
You said you hated the glass boxes smashing every time?
Oh yeah, it happened and it was like, okay, there are glass boxes smashing. And then it kept happening for the entire scene and I was like, okay.
I get it, yeah.
Right. So he deals with all these people. And then he and Winston go to the roof with the.
It's
high
him,
table.
Winston, the chick. Was somebody else there?
Was it the concierge dude?
Yeah, he survived as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So they go to the table and she's like, this is only the first wave. This is only the beginning.
Yeah, it's like, there can't be that many guys. There can't be. If it was a first, you just bring them all in one go, really, if you wanted to kill John Wick.
And she's like, and she sort of figures out, Winston, you were doing all this to show that you could be strong, and that you could, that you had the strength to still run the hotel. And Winston's like, yes, you figured it out.
But and she says,
and you think that Winston's got something up his sleeve. She says, okay, so maybe you can be the hotel manager still.
yeah.
But what about John Wick? And then he says, well, he has to die.
Pew, pew, pew! Winston, you son of a
You
bitch!
son of a bitch.
Give me an hour, please!
And John Wick falls off like a 20-story building and survives.
I mean,
His fall was broken by a bunch of things.
by
on the
his
way
ribs. It was pretty brutal.
Yep.
And it's like, it's believable that he survives, but
Maybe,
unbelievable that
maybe.
he goes
It
on to
does
a fourth film and runs around and shoots other people.
Right.
We'll have to see.
Well,
if he starts wheeling around in a wheelchair and shoots people, I'll be like, you know what, I believe that.
Maybe it'll be 20 years in the future. They'll do
And he's
some,
healed properly.
yeah, some prosthetic makeup.
Maybe
It'll
it'll
old
be
man John Wick.
2077, yeah.
Do you think he'll kill Winston in the next one?
The only way that they can...
Winston is also played by a character. I forgot his name, but he's in Game of Thrones as well.
Oh my goodness, of course he is. Is he really?
He is.
Wow.
He's in like one episode and he dies.
This is how I imagine the future of John Wick.
Yeah.
Probably me just personally, I don't know how many other people will. I'm going to look back at it. 1 and 2, I'm going to see them together.
Yep.
And I'm going to see 3 and 4 together. 1 and 2 are a personal John Wick
1
story.
and 2 are The Godfather and Godfather Part 2. They're in that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call John Wick 3 Godfather Part 3. It wasn't shit. It was just...
Okay, Star Wars,
John Wick 3 wasn't
Star
bad.
Wars and The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. No, that's a good comparison, actually. And then the fourth one, so 1 and 2 I see together, and then 3 and 4 I see together as being more about the whole world of assassins and stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason I wasn't a big fan of number 3 is I wasn't ready for it to go as big as it did.
Sure.
1 and 2 were quite small, and like the world building's there, but it's not the main thing. And then 3, I said 3 and 4, like it's already out. It just went bigger, and I wasn't quite ready for it. So that's why when I left the cinemas, I wasn't quite sure about it. The action's great, but I wasn't quite ready for it to go as big as it did.
Yeah,
so
I think
can
I
see
agree.
number 4 being like, the whole war of John Wick and Morpheus going against the high table, and everything's just going to be completely crazy now, and all the rules are going to be broken, and it's going to be chaos and mess. So that's why I can see 3 and 4 being together.
Because of course Morpheus is sort of the king of the
Pigeons.
hobos.
Yeah.
The hobos and the pigeons.
The fake hobos.
And he's like, this is the internet, but no IP addresses.
No, it's not. Yeah, not quite that fast. So he throws a pigeon to like Australia.
Because at the end he basically gets his hobos to drag John Wick in.
Yeah, Adrian from Brooklyn Nine-Nine to put him in a shopping trolley.
And and he says to John Wick, because he's been cut up.
Yeah. Are you pissed, John Wick?
Yeah.
Banana, banana.
What a reenactment.
Yeah. So that's how it ends. Yeah, that's my too long don't read.
Yeah.
1 and 2 good. 3 wasn't ready for it to go as big as it did.
Yeah.
Still good though.
4, we'll see what happens. Number 4 will be the Star Wars Holiday Special of the John Wick
No, it's not
Cinematic Universe.
4 will be like, we don't have to compare it to Star Wars anymore.
All right, fine.
So yeah, that's our discussion about John Wick.
That's it. Hello there and welcome to...
Welcome to Film News. Did you know Spider-Man Far From Home dominates at the box office, making it the highest earning movie at its 6-day mark after a 4th of July opening in North America ever?
What do you call a spider with 20 eyes?
20 eyes, I don't know.
A spider! Netflix responds to criticisms which say there's too much smoking in their programming.
they say they'll be eliminating smoking in all new children's shows and movies.
But for everything else, Netflix strongly supports artistic expression.
So strongly that they'll be eliminating smoking in all new content for mature audiences, unless smoking is really integral to the story.
Yeah, really, really important to the story.
Like it's about Disney, owner of all things,
Star Wars, Marvel.
black people, has dropped its first teaser for their live-action remake of Mulan during halftime at the FIFA Women's World Cup, which I didn't know was a thing, to be honest, proving that women can be whatever they want to be.
Yeah, including corporate properties. Daisy Ridley leaks details about a lightsaber fight between Rey and Kylo Ren in the upcoming Star Wars epic, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker.
And from the sound of it, Rey's gonna hit a lightsaber into another lightsaber.
Yeah, what colour will the lightsaber be?
Green?
Will it be green, red, blue,
Purple?
yellow, orange,
White?
mauve?
Gay colour? With all the colours? We don't know,
That's just
but we
tasteless.
don't... Well, no, it's like the rainbow.
You disgust me.
Rainbow is gay. We don't know that.
Speaking of Netflix, Stranger Things Season 3 released to great excitement and praise.
It was fresh and exciting.
But on the other hand, it felt a bit tired and played out.
And finally, Christopher Lloyd says he'd be on board for another climate change themed adventure. I just realised that, that's so weird. In the Back to the Future Expanded Cinematic Universe franchise, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Do we have any stories today that aren't about big franchises and Netflix?
Huh? I don't know. You wrote these.
Well, thank you for watching the show. We talked about dildo diamonds.
Have you seen my Gears of War poster, by the way? It's pretty good. You can see on that side, so you can see behind it, that's fine. Cost me like $45 for a cash converter.
Master
But
Chief
it's
looks
nice
different.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny. That's a funny joke for you, a funny guy. So thanks for watching the show.
What?
If you enjoyed it, yeah, good. Boom.